Imagine standing in the middle of a huge, busy jungle filled with plants, animals, and constant movement. Now think about this. That same kind of wild, living environment actually exists inside your body. Your skin, mouth, lungs, and especially your gut are full of tiny living things, bacteria, viruses, fungi, and archaea, so small that millions of them could fit on a pinhead. All of these tiny organisms together make up your microbiome. You're not just one person, you're more like a living planet filled with microscopic life. This might sound like something out of science fiction, but it's real. And what's even more surprising is that this microscopic world has been with humans since the beginning of our history. Long before the first cities or even the discovery of fire, our ancestors carried these microbes inside them. Scientists studying fossils and DNA have found that humans, and even the species before us, have lived with these microbes for millions of years. As early humans traveled through forests and deserts, hunted animals, and learned to cook food, their microbiomes evolved with them. These microbes helped digest tough plants and meats, fought off harmful germs, and trained the immune system to tell the difference between good and bad threats. The story of the microbiome is deeply connected to the story of humans. Today, researchers estimate that your body contains more than 100 trillion microbial cells, more than 10 times the number of human cells. Altogether, these microbes weigh about 1.5 kilograms, around 3.3 pounds, roughly the same as your brain. But they're not just sitting there doing nothing. They help your body function by breaking down food, supporting your immune system, and even affecting your mood and energy levels. So next time you think about who you are, remember that you're not just one person. You're a team, a prehistoric team that has been evolving inside you for millions of years. Welcome to the empire within. Imagine your body as a massive, constantly moving city, alive with the buzz of activity, traffic, and cooperation. But unlike any ordinary city, this one is filled with residents you can't see, tiny life forms that live on your skin, in your mouth, throughout your lungs, and deep within your digestive system. These microscopic creatures are part of what scientists call the human microbiome. And here's the astonishing part. They actually outnumber your human cells by at least 10 to 1. From the outside, you look like a single human being, but on the inside, you're home to an entire universe. This invisible population has been with you since the very beginning of your life. The moment you were born, microbes began to make their way into your body. Babies born through the birth canal receive their first wave of microbes from their mothers. Those born through C-sections are initially colonized by microbes from the hospital environment and the people nearby. These early exposures help shape your body's unique microbial fingerprint, a living signature that continues to evolve as you grow up. These microbes don't just float randomly inside you. They take up residence in specific parts of your body, your skin, your mouth, your nasal passages, your lungs, and most importantly, your gut. Each of these areas hosts its own distinct microbial community, like different neighborhoods within the same city. Of all these microbial neighborhoods, the gut is the most densely populated and diverse. You can think of it as the capital of your internal empire, home to tens of trillions of microbial organisms that are constantly at work. And what kinds of life are we talking about here? Mostly bacteria, which help digest food, break down fiber, and even produce certain vitamins your body can't make on its own. But bacteria aren't the only players. Fungi also live inside you, playing a role in nutrient absorption and helping to maintain balance in your immune system. Viruses, surprisingly to you. Why are there two? Not the ones that make you sick, but ones that infect bacteria and help regulate their populations. Then there are archaea, single-celled organisms that have been around for billions of years. These ancient microbes have survived extreme environments and now thrive inside your gut, breaking down substances like methane and helping keep your system in check. What's truly mind-blowing is how old this relationship is. Genetic evidence shows that humans have been co-evolving with their microbiomes for millions of years, long before the rise of civilization, agriculture, or even spoken language. Some of the microbes living in your gut today are similar to those found in wild primates. suggesting that our microbial partnerships go all the way back to a common ancestor shared with apes. That's right, some of the microscopic citizens inside you have been hitching a ride with humans since before we walked upright. And this relationship isn't just one of passive coexistence.
It's a partnership. The microbes inside you play a vital role in helping your body function properly. They help you break down and absorb nutrients, protect you from harmful bacteria and viruses, and even help train your immune system to know the difference between helpful and harmful invaders. Scientists have also discovered that the microbiome communicates with the brain through the gut-brain axis, a pathway involving nerves, hormones, and chemical signals that influence how you feel, from your mood to your appetite. Without your microbiome, your body would be missing essential tools for survival. You might struggle to digest certain foods or be more vulnerable to infections. That's why researchers now believe the microbiome is almost like another organ, one that just happens to be made up of thousands of different species. As you go about your daily life, going to school, playing sports, hanging out with friends, or just relaxing, this complex community inside you is hard at work. It's protecting you from disease, helping you stay energized, and even influencing your thoughts and feelings in ways we're only beginning to understand. So, the next time you think about who you are, remember this: you're not alone. You're the host of an ancient, invisible world that's been evolving alongside humanity for millions of years, and understanding that world could be the key to unlocking better health, sharper minds, and longer lives in the future. Now that you've met these hidden citizens, let's dig even deeper into their prehistoric origins and discover how this unlikely partnership first began. Now that you've learned about the microbes living inside you, it's natural to wonder, where do they come from? How do they become so connected to human life? Why are they still with us today? And how have they changed along with us over time? To understand that, we need to go way back in time. Not just a few thousand years to the age of pyramids or ancient empires, but millions of years into Earth's deep history. Long before humans existed, even before dinosaurs ruled the planet, microbes were already thriving. These tiny organisms are among the earliest forms of life, and they've been around for over 3.5 billion years. That means microbes were shaping Earth's environment long before any animals or plants came along. They were responsible for some of the planet's most important changes, like producing oxygen and forming soil, laying the groundwork for more complex life to evolve. As life on Earth continued to develop, microbes formed partnerships with nearly every living thing, including animals. When the first mammals appeared, they carried microbes in their guts, on their skin, and even in their mouths. By the time our primate ancestors arrived in the forests of Africa, they had already inherited these tiny companions. These microbes weren't just tagging along, they played an important role in helping their hosts digest food, stay healthy, and adapt to their environment. As early humans evolved from these primates and began to walk upright, use tools and live in social groups, their microbiomes evolved too. Every step forward in human development, from learning how to hunt to discovering fire to preparing food, had an impact on the kinds of microbes that lived in and on our bodies. Think about it. When early humans ate wild fruits, roots, and raw meat, their digestive systems needed help breaking all that down. Microbes were there to help, and every time someone drank from a stream, shared food, or touched soil, they came into contact with new microbes that could become part of their inner ecosystem. Modern scientists are uncovering clues about these ancient relationships by studying fossilized feces, known as coprolites, as well as the microbiomes of modern hunter-gatherer communities like the Hadza in Tanzania and the Yanomami in the Amazon rainforest. These groups live in ways that are much closer to how our ancestors did, eating natural high-fiber diets, living outside and interacting with the land every day. As a result, their microbiomes are much more diverse than those of people living in cities or eating mostly processed foods. Why does this matter? A more diverse microbiome seems to offer better protection against disease, inflammation, and immune problems. The gut microbiomes of the Hadza and Yanomami contain microbial species that help regulate blood sugar, fight off harmful bacteria, and strengthen the gut lining, all things that are essential to staying healthy. Many of these beneficial microbes are missing in modern industrialized societies. That's because human lifestyles have changed dramatically over time. When agriculture began, people shifted from eating dozens of wild plant types to mainly eating a few domesticated crops like wheat, rice, and corn. Later, the rise of cities brought new changes. More time indoors, fewer interactions with soil and animals, and new diets filled with processed foods. Then came modern medicine, including antibiotics and sterilization, which saved countless lives but also wiped out many of the helpful microbes we once carried. These changes, while helpful in some ways, have also made our microbiomes less rich and diverse. And that may be causing new problems. Some scientists believe that the drop in microbial diversity is linked to a rise in health issues like allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases, obesity, and even mental health problems such as depression and anxiety. Our ancestors' microbiomes likely helped them stay balanced and resilient, something that many people today may be missing. But there's good news. Researchers are working hard to understand how we can bring back the microbial richness our bodies once had. They've found that eating more plant-based fiber, enjoying fermented foods like yogurt, sauerkraut, and miso, spending time outdoors and having contact with natural environments can help increase microbial diversity. Some scientists are even exploring treatments like fecal microbiota transplants to help people with serious gut problems rebuild a healthy microbiome. So the next time you eat something fermented, go hiking, or even get a little dirty in the garden, think about what you're really doing. You're not just having fun or enjoying a snack. You're reconnecting with a relationship that started millions of years ago. The microbes inside you aren't just leftovers from the past. They're ancient allies, shaped by evolution and passed down through generations, still working with your body today. Help you survive, adapt, and thrive. Wisdom Uniterial is the probably a street. You're not just a person, you're a living time capsule, and your microbiome is a record of the deep history shared between humans and the tiniest life forms on Earth. Imagine your microbiome as a lively city filled with microscopic citizens, each playing a role in keeping the entire place running smoothly. Now picture your immune system as the city's security force, a smart, well-equipped team that's supposed to know the difference between friendly neighbors and dangerous invaders. But here's the twist. Those helpful microbes, they're not just residents, they're also the ones training the immune system how to do its job. Your immune system isn't born with full knowledge of what's harmful and what's safe. Instead, it starts off like a rookie, enthusiastic but unsure. That's where the microbiome comes in. From your very first moments after birth, the microbes that colonize your body begin teaching your immune system how to respond to different threats. They show it how to defend against real dangers like viruses or bad bacteria, and when to relax around harmless things like pollen or pet dander. You can think of it like teaching a guard dog when to bark, and when to stay calm. Scientists have found strong evidence that growing up in an ultra-clean environment, one without enough contact with natural microbes, may cause the immune system to become confused. This is part of what researchers call the hygiene hypothesis. According to this idea, being too clean might actually weaken the immune system's ability to tell friend from foe. Kids who aren't exposed to enough microbes early on might be more likely to develop allergies, asthma, and autoimmune conditions later in life. So yes, those muddy puddles and backyard dirt piles might actually be doing a little more good than harm. Most of this critical immune training happens in your gut, home to the largest and most diverse community of microbes in your entire body. Inside the gut, immune cells and microbes are constantly communicating using chemical messages. These messages help regulate inflammation and teach the immune system how to strike a balance. Defend the body when needed, but avoid overreacting to harmless substances. Think of it as a peaceful negotiation table where your body's peacekeepers and tiny residents are always talking things out. But when this balance breaks down, a condition called dysbiosis, it can set off a chain reaction of problems. An unbalanced microbiome can send mixed signals to the immune system, causing it to overreact and even attack healthy tissues. This is how some serious conditions begin, including inflammatory bowel disease, type 1 diabetes, and rheumatoid arthritis. It's as if the city's security force has lost its training and starts chasing after innocent people on the street. Looking at history gives us even more clues. In the past, people lived much closer to nature, working outdoors, raising animals, and drinking water straight from rivers and wells. These lifestyles naturally exposed them to a wide variety of microbes. Interestingly, autoimmune and inflammatory diseases were far less common then, but as society grew more industrial and hygienic, our exposure to helpful microbes dropped. At the same time, cases of chronic immune-related disorders began to rise. Coincidence? Many scientists don't think so. Fortunately, researchers are finding ways to fix this modern imbalance. Eating a variety of fruits, vegetables, and high-fiber foods helps nourish beneficial gut bacteria, including fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi can also boost helpful microbes. Probiotics, supplements containing live bacteria, may support gut health too, although their benefits depend on the specific strains used. And in more extreme cases, doctors have experimented with fecal microbiota transplants. Yes, it's exactly what it sounds like, to restore balance in people with serious gut problems. There's also growing interest in rewilding the immune system by encouraging more interaction with nature, playing in dirt, spending time with animals, walking in green spaces, and avoiding overuse of Aryan F sanitizers and antibiotics might help support a healthier microbiome. The idea isn't to stop cleaning or ignore hygiene, but to find a healthier balance, one where the immune system gets the exposure and training it needs without being overwhelmed. So the next time you're enjoying a hike, digging in the garden, or eating a spoonful of yogurt, take a moment to appreciate what's really going on inside you. Your immune system and your microbes are teaming up, as they have been for millions of years, to keep you healthy, balanced, and ready for whatever the world throws your way. And if your immune system seems a little too jumpy, maybe it's just asking for more time with its tiny, ancient mentors. Have you ever felt butterflies in your stomach before a big test? Or maybe felt sluggish or grumpy after a weekend of eating nothing but fast food and soda? As strange as it sounds, those feelings may not just be emotional reactions. They might actually be coming from your gut, and the tiny microbes living inside you could be part of the reason why. Scientists call this fascinating relationship the gut-brain axis. It's a two-way communication system that links your brain and your gut, allowing them to send messages back and forth constantly. What's even more surprising is that your microbiome, the trillions of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and other microbes that live mainly in your gut, plays a major role in this conversation. Some scientists are now suggesting that these microbes may influence your emotions, thoughts, and mental health in ways we're only beginning to understand. For decades, people thought the brain was the command center and that everything else in the body just followed up, load orders. But it turns out the gut is no silent partner. In fact, your gut can send signals up to your brain through the vagus nerve, a major nerve that connects the gut to the brain, hormones and even chemicals called neurotransmitters. One of the most important neurotransmitters is serotonin, often called the feel-good chemical, because it helps regulate mood, sleep, and appetite. Surprisingly, about 90% of your body's serotonin is made in the gut, not the brain. So yes, your gut might have more control over your mood than you ever realized. Your gut microbes help produce or manage these brain chemicals. Some bacteria produce substances that reduce stress, others influence how your brain handles fear, and some even help sharpen focus or memory. But when the microbiome gets out of balance, a condition known as dysbiosis, these important signals can get scrambled. That's when problems like anxiety, depression, or difficulty focusing can show up. It's kind of like trying to have a conversation with someone while your phone keeps losing signal. This idea that the gut affects your mood might sound new, but it actually goes way back in history. Over 2,000 years ago, Hippocrates, a Greek doctor often called the father of medicine, said, "All disease begins in the gut." For centuries, that was dismissed as just a theory, but now scientists are discovering just how right he might have been. Modern research supports the idea that the gut has a deep influence on mental and emotional well-being. In labs, researchers have experimented with special germ-free mice raised in environments where they never come into contact with microbes. These mice often show unusual behavior. They're more anxious, more sensitive to stress, and less social than mice with normal microbiomes. But when scientists introduce healthy microbes into their systems, their behavior starts to change. They become calmer, more curious, and less anxious. It's one of the clearest signs we have that microbes can directly influence behavior. And it's not just animal studies. More and more human trials are exploring whether probiotics, supplements that contain beneficial bacteria, can improve mental health. Some early studies have shown promising results, with people reporting lower levels of stress, better sleep, and improved moods after taking specific types of probiotics. At the same time, traditional fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, and miso are being studied as natural ways to support both gut and brain health. Of course, that doesn't mean probiotics or fermented foods are a cure-all. Mental health is complicated and there are many factors involved, from genetics and environment to experiences and brain chemistry. But what we eat and how we take care of our gut might be a bigger piece of the mental health puzzle than we ever thought. So what does this mean for your everyday life? If you've been feeling stressed, anxious, or just off, your gut might be part of the reason. Maybe it's lacking the fiber it needs to feed your good bacteria. Maybe your helpful microbes are being overwhelmed by a steady diet of ultra-processed snacks and sugary drinks. Or maybe your gut is simply asking for a little variety. A mix of vegetables, whole grains, and some fermented treats to keep things running smoothly. Next time you feel off balance, try tuning into your gut. It might not speak in words, but through mood, energy, and cravings, it's always sending messages. And behind those messages are millions of microscopic organisms working hard to keep you healthy, sharp, and emotionally steady. In the end, your brain and your gut are more than just neighbors. They're best friends with a long history of helping each other out. And your microbiome? It's the loyal go-between, quietly supporting the connection, one micro-message at a time. By now, you've learned that your microbiome, all the tiny organisms living mostly in your gut, is like a busy, invisible city inside your body. It's full of microscopic life forms that work around the clock to keep you healthy, balanced, and even mentally sharp. But unlike ancient cities that stay the same for centuries, this inner world is constantly changing, adapting, and evolving based on your everyday choices. What you eat, how you move, where you go, and even how you were born all shape your internal ecosystem, sometimes in big ways. Let's start with food, because what you eat is one of the biggest influences on your microbiome. Imagine your gut like an enormous buffet, and your microbes are the guests. When you eat a diet full of fiber, fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, your good microbes get the feast they love. They ferment that fiber and turn it into helpful compounds like short-chain fatty acids, which lower inflammation, strengthen your gut lining, and help you. Our immune systems stay calm and balanced. But what happens when the menu shifts? If your diet is heavy on ultra-processed snacks, sugary drinks, or low-fiber fast food, your good microbes go hungry. Without their favorite foods, they shrink in number, and less helpful or even harmful microbes can start to take over. It's like throwing a junk food party where the healthiest guests leave early and the troublemakers stay late. This is why scientists are fascinated by traditional groups like the Hadza in Tanzania, a hunter-gatherer community whose members eat dozens of different plants, roots, and berries every week. Their microbiomes are way more diverse than those of people living in modern industrialized countries, and diversity is a big deal. A more varied microbiome can do more jobs, like fighting infections, reducing inflammation, and helping you recover from stress. Food isn't the only factor, though. Medicines, especially antibiotics, also play a huge role. Antibiotics are important drugs that kill harmful bacteria, but they're kind of like setting off a bomb in a crowded room. Both enemies and allies can get wiped out. While antibiotics save lives, they also kill off many of your good microbes. This can leave your microbiome weaker and less able to protect you from future problems. That's why doctors recommend only using antibiotics when necessary and rebuilding your microbiome afterward with healthy foods, prebiotics and probiotics. Then there's lifestyle. How much time you spend outside, how often you exercise, whether or not you have pets, and how much time you spend in nature all matter. Just touching plants, playing in the dirt, or walking barefoot outside can expose you to helpful microbes from the environment. Even the way you were born and fed as a baby has an effect. Babies born vaginally receive their first microbes from their mother's birth canal. Babies born via C-section start off with different microbes, often picked up from the hospital environment. Breastfeeding adds another layer of microbial support. Breast milk contains special sugars and nutrients that help healthy microbes grow in a baby's gut, laying the foundation for long-term health. Your location also plays a surprising role. People living in rural areas, small villages, or developing countries tend to have more diverse microbiomes than those living in cities. Why? Because they're exposed to a wider variety of microbes from soil, animals, water, and the outdoors. That doesn't mean city dwellers are doomed, but it does suggest that getting out of the house and into nature more often is a great idea, both for your mental well-being and your microbial diversity. What's fascinating is how much control you actually have. No one's asking you to live in a forest, raise chickens, or start foraging mushrooms, although props if you do. But small changes, like choosing whole fruits over candy, adding beans to your meals, or spending a weekend hiking instead of influence scrolling, can make a big difference over time. Even cuddling your dog can help, since pets can share some of their beneficial microbes with you. In fact, pets are like microbial delivery trucks. Studies have shown that children who grow up with dogs or cats tend to have stronger immune systems and fewer allergies. The microbes brought in by animals help train the immune system, similar to the way early exposure to dirt and dust can help build resilience. So, when you think about being healthy, don't just focus on calories or muscles. Picture the microscopic universe inside you. With every salad you eat, every walk you take, and every moment you spend outdoors, you're helping that universe thrive. Your microbes work hard for you, digesting your food, calming your immune system, and even helping balance your mood. They don't ask for much. Just a little fiber, variety, fresh air, and maybe a spoonful of yogurt now and then. In return, they support nearly every part of your health. They are not just passengers riding along. They're your inner teammates, allies, and builders, shaping your well-being, one microscopic task at a time. We've already explored how microbes have lived alongside us since the very beginning, shaping our digestion, protecting our immune systems, and even influencing how we feel. But what's next? As scientists dive deeper into the world of microbiome research, we're starting to see that our partnership with microbes is far from over. In fact, we might be entering the most exciting chapter yet. For most of modern medical history, the goal was simple: fight disease by attacking the cause. Kill the bacteria, remove the infected part, sanitize everything. But now, a new idea is gaining ground. Instead of always removing what's harmful, why not bring back what's helpful? This is the heart of microbiome-based medicine, a growing field that treats your body as an ecosystem to be restored and balanced, rather than just a battlefield to be sterilized. One of the most talked about treatments is the fecal microbiota transplant, or FMT. Yes, it sounds gross, transferring poop from a healthy perso into someone with a damaged gut, but it's been a lifesaver for people battling infections like Clostridioides difficile, a condition that can cause severe diarrhea and doesn't always respond to antibiotics. By introducing a healthy mix of microbes, FMT can reboot the gut and restore balance much faster and more effectively than drugs alone. But that's only scratching the surface. Scientists are now exploring how gut microbes might play a role in conditions far beyond the gut. Could they help manage obesity by influencing how we store fat? Could they improve mental health by regulating mood-related chemicals? Might they even reduce the risk of certain cancers by supporting immune function or reducing inflammation? Clinical trials are underway, and early results are encouraging. In the near future, A routine visit to the doctor might include a microbiome test, just like getting your blood pressure checked. Based on your personal microbial profile, you could get a custom plan for nutrition, medication, or lifestyle changes, all tailored to support your unique microbiome. This kind of personalized medicine would look not just at your genes, but also at your germs. And then there's the idea of next-generation probiotics. Unlike the generic probiotic capsules you find in stores today, these advanced versions would be made using artificial intelligence and DNA sequencing to identify exactly which strains of bacteria your body needs. You might one day take a probiotic mix to help with sleep, focus, or stress, like a personalized boost for your inner team of microbes. This research isn't just about Earth either. Even space agencies are paying attention. NASA is studying how space travel affects astronauts' microbiomes. Turns out life in space, with its zero-gravity radiation and space food, changes the gut in strange ways. Microbial shifts could affect everything from immune strength to mood stability. Understanding these changes could be the key to helping future safe-to-roses.
Astronauts stay healthy during long missions to the Moon, Mars, or beyond. Because, as it turns out, you don't go to space alone, your microbes come with you. But as microbiome science moves forward, new challenges appear. One concern is whether we might lose ancient microbial species forever, especially as modern life, antibiotics, and processed foods reduce microbial diversity. Traditional communities that live close to nature often have far richer microbiomes, and some scientists now argue that we need to preserve microbial diversity the way we protect endangered animals. This idea, called microbial conservation, is about more than just saving bugs. It's about saving health knowledge, resilience, and potential treatments we haven't even discovered yet. There are also ethical questions to consider. Who owns microbial data? Should companies be allowed to patent certain bacteria? How do we ensure that microbiome-based treatments are available to everyone, not just the wealthy?
For those in high-tech countries. One thing is clear, we've only just begun to understand the full power of the microbiome. What used to be labelled as germs to avoid are now seen as trusted allies. They're being recognised as key players in how we heal, grow and adapt to our changing world. And in the decades to come, our relationship with them may help solve some of our greatest medical mysteries. So, next time you bite into a pickle, sip on kefir, or take a walk through a park, remember this: you're not just living in the present, you're part of a future that includes ancient life forms, modern science, and the incredible possibility of healing, one microbe at a time. As we wrap up this journey through the fascinating world of the human microbiome, it's worth pausing to reflect, not just on what we've discovered, but on what has been quietly working within us all along. Beneath the surface of your skin, deeper than your cells and organs, lives a microscopic universe, a community of trillions of bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other tiny organisms that form your microbiome. These microbes are more than just invisible passengers. They're active, essential, and have been by your side since the moment you were born, and even before that, through generations of evolution. Over the past chapters, we've learned that these tiny life forms help us digest food, regulate our immune system, and even influence our mood and mental health. They may be small, but their role in our lives is enormous. Like a team of silent workers, they're constantly at work, breaking down nutrients, sending signals to our brains, and standing guard against harmful invaders. We'd be more vulnerable to illness, less efficient at absorbing nutrients, and maybe even a bit moodier. In modern life, we've gotten used to hearing that germs are bad, that they need to be scrubbed, sanitized, and wiped out. And while it's true that some microbes can cause disease, it's also true that many of them are allies, not enemies. Your microbiome is full of helpful bacteria that support your health. You can think of them like helpful roommates who do their chores quietly, keeping your house, your body, running smoothly. They help clean up, balance the temperature, keep pests away, and sometimes even leave little gifts behind, like vitamins. Looking back through history, our relationship with microbes goes much further than we used to think. Long before scientists discovered bacteria under microscopes, ancient cultures were working with microbes without realizing it. Fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, miso, and sourdough bread have been around for thousands of years. People used these foods for their taste and shelf life, but now we know they were also unknowingly feeding and supporting their microbiomes. Traditional diets, full of fiber, variety, and natural ingredients, created the perfect environment for good microbes to thrive. Fast forward to today, and we're beginning to fully understand the power of these invisible partners. Scientists can now map the microbial communities in your gut, compare them across populations, and even use them to predict or treat disease. From personalized probiotics that match your specific needs to cutting-edge therapies like fecal microbiota transplants, we're stepping into a new age of medicine, one that treats health as a partnership between human and microbe. But it doesn't stop there. As microbiome science advances, we're also learning to think globally. Just like rainforests and coral reefs, microbial ecosystems need protection. Some scientists are now talking about microbial conservation, protecting ancient microbes in traditional communities, studying lost species, and even storing samples in microbial vaults for future research. That's because losing microbial diversity may not only affect our health now, it could limit medical possibilities for future generations. So what does this mean for you? Luckily, you don't need a lab coat to take care of your microbiome. It starts with small daily choices. Eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables. Choose whole, fiber-rich foods over highly processed snacks. Try fermented foods like kefir, yogurt, or pickles. Spend time in nature. Walk barefoot on the grass. Play with pets. Don't be afraid of a little healthy dirt. Every time you make these choices, you're not just helping yourself, you're supporting the microscopic team that supports you. Because here's the truth, you are not just one being. You are a partnership, a walking, talking, thinking ecosystem that has been shaped by millions of years of co-evolution. Your microbes help raise you, and in return, you can help keep them strong. So next time you take a bite of sourdough bread or feel a breeze while hiking through the woods, take a second to appreciate the tiny allies working behind the scenes. They don't ask for attention, but they deserve your respect and maybe a little extra fiber now and then. It's a friendship that began long before you were born, and with a little care, it'll keep thriving for the rest of your life.